Well, utility systems technology started as sort of an accident. When I was on the faculty at RPI, I was doing some consulting, and that consulting resulted in some innovative ways to build some equipment. And we couldn't get anyone interested in taking that product to market. And as a result, we formed Utility Systems Technologies. We manufacture electronic products that improve the power quality of the electricity delivered to industrial sites. Let me give you an example. In the evening, you may see your lights flicker in your home. Okay, that's not a problem but for some industrial processes, that can shut that process down or ruin an MRI or cause considerable electrical damage. Okay, so what our equipment does is stand between the power system and the product and improve that power quality. We've been fortunate. We have units, I think, in every continent except Antarctica and in Australia.
My name is Skylar Tilley. I'm a First Vice President with First Niagara Bank in their Commercial Lending Department. It's an honor for First Niagara Bank to have UST as a customer. What's interesting and fascinating for us from the banking side is to get to see companies like UST and entrepreneurs like Bob and how they can take an idea that they have and transform it into something that's meaningful for our community and our area. And by partnering with him and helping him meet his financing needs, we're allowing him to grow his employment base here via manufacturing abroad.
I grew up as a hardcore engineer, so I have to say what's nearest and dearest to me is the engineering. But what I've learned and what I'm continuing to learn to appreciate is it's the marketing, it's the sales, it's the service, it's the banking, the economics, to do things on time. And all of those pieces, we can have the best idea in the world, but if we can't get it to market, if we can't pay for it, if we can't have reasonable credit, if we can't negotiate appropriate terms and conditions, we're not going to be in business. So I have to say, you asked the question, what do I like the most? Is probably the technology. But what you need to do, well, we need to do all of these other things equally well. And so we'll continue to do that and grow this business. So.
AWS True Power began actually about 30 years ago. There was a meeting of some researchers when I was working with the State University of New York at Albany at a research center there. And my colleagues got together and we talked about setting up a consulting firm in weather and energy, some general services. And we decided to call it Associated Weather Services. And that's where our AWS came from. And it wasn't until a few years later that I decided to leave the university and consult full-time and to begin to grow a business that specialized in weather services, but also renewable energy and air pollution meteorology. We work both as a consulting firm where we provide services from meteorologists and engineers to help address siting and development activities for solar and wind projects. We also have an information services unit, which we started about 3-4 years ago to provide map information, specialized data, so that we could project information about what the wind or solar attributes are within any country. One of the most interesting applications of the work we do is in helping site wind turbines in the ocean. We've been working for several years with investors and utilities in Europe, where there are now about 30 offshore wind projects generating lots of electricity for Europe. And that trend is now moving this way in the States, so I would expect over the next several years you'll be seeing a lot more wind farms along the Atlantic coast. We're involved in a lot of the planning, siting, prediction work for a lot of the developers and government agencies in offshore wind.
Tech Valley Global Business Network always tries to recognize outstanding businesses within our region. And when I started to think about a company that has really been an example for others and hasn't needed any motivation outside of their own capabilities and management to find opportunities in the global marketplace, and that provides a really high quality professional service, I thought it would be appropriate for us to recognize AWS True Power. And I think here we have a wonderful example of a company that practically is bursting at the seams in this building on New Carter Road. And I'm sure we're going to see further growth from AWS True Power because obviously the need for fossil fuels in the world is growing. We don't have enough. They're pollutants, they're contaminants. Burning coal in countries is not the answer. We should be looking to renewable energy resources. And I think we have a wonderful, wonderful infrastructure here in New York State, led by companies like AWS True Power, that will allow our companies to enjoy the benefits of profits that can come from exporting.
Looking ahead in our future, let's say over the next 5 years, we're looking to be a brand name, the most recognized company in renewable energy services on a global basis. So we're looking to strike a lot more partnerships globally. We want to provide the best technical services in both wind and solar energy applications, not just how to evaluate where projects should go, but also to optimize existing projects to make sure that they perform even better and realize better revenues for their owners and operators.
Transtech originally was started as a company called AW2R, which stood for alternate ways to build roads. So we started mainly on the asphalt side of things. It's about 15 years ago. And they had a product that built longitudinal joints. And we've evolved from that into instrumentation, into actually construction service. And we still do have those original products. We still manufacture those and sell those. The main product that we sell overseas is our instrumentation devices. These are non-nuclear devices that measure the density of asphalt and soil, and that's an important component to any construction project that's going on. Through history and through the construction industry, these gauges have always been nuclear sourced. They actually have a nuclear gauge. We're replacing the nuclear gauge with a non-nuclear device that works off of electricity, basically, and we can gain the same information. And every construction project needs that information, no matter if you're laying an asphalt road or you're building a building on soil. So those are the two main instruments that we're exporting into these areas. Nuclear gauges tend to be cumbersome, you have to have licensing fees, and we don't have any of that associated to our product. So that's the big draw for the user, is they're a lot cheaper. When we first made the decision that we were going to go international, it was scary and exciting at the same time. People have often asked, how did a 40-person company decide to go global and to gain all this different market share by going global? And the simple answer that I give folks is I got on an airplane. And literally it's what we did. When we decided. We picked some regions where we knew we had some loose contacts, and we started working with those folks mainly in Europe. That seemed to be a very easy place for us to start because we knew people there. Right now, Transtech's main focus is obviously throughout Asia. That seems to be very big. China, Thailand, Cambodia, Vietnam, even into India, up into the former Soviet Union states and up into Russia.
We nominated Transtech Systems because we were so impressed with David Epkarian's passion, guts, and pure entrepreneurship for changing his business model and spearheading his company toward future growth. Not many companies that we've met with that we know of will drastically change their model that they've been working on for 10 years or so, from one dealing specifically, purely, almost domestically, to one almost exclusively with overseas clients. First Niagara is so proud to be the business partner of TransTech and to help fund their continued expansion overseas.
To TransTech, the most important thing, it's great I get to sit here, I get to talk to everybody. You know, I'm the one that gets to look at the camera and say, "Hi, Mom." But it's a team, and we have a team here. We have a team of 40 employees. We have very little turnover. I've got folks that have been here since the beginning. There's actually employees that have been here before I was here. And that is the most important thing, is this team that we have at TransTech is such a versatile, they move like squirrels. They can change, they can move, they can do this, they can do that. And for us as a company, that's one of our greatest assets, is I've just got a team here that's second to none.
How do I feel about having been honored with the Global Vision Award as someone who has the foresight and knowledge to help bring businesses into the global economy? I'm very flattered. There are great groups of international businesses here, and for them to have said that I have the ability to help them do this is something for which I am very grateful. I see myself on a daily basis sort of down in the trenches, trying to help businesses establish new markets, bring in new people, bring in new international partners. How does Tech Valley benefit from involvement in the global economy? There are so many different ways I can hardly know where to start. First of all, it benefits through job generation. Every export that we send out is a job that is created in our area. The more exports, the more jobs. But even when business comes into our area from overseas, that creates jobs as well, because we have new employees who need groceries, they need houses, their kids need to go to school. So both sides of the international transaction creates economic activity.
Well, Leslie, in two particular substantive areas is a real, frankly, treasure. One for immigration, for entrepreneurs, foreign entrepreneurs and investors who want to come into this country, for people who need technical skills, they want to import scientists from universities and companies. She's a resource for that with substantial backup within the firm. Leslie also is has a real expertise in sales agency agreements and distribution agency agreements. But I'd like to stress in ending what a worthy recipient Leslie Thiel is to receiving the Tech Valley Global Business Network Award for 2011, or probably a lot of other years.
I very much regret that I can't be with you all tonight to accept this award personally and to thank the other winners. I had made a commitment some months ago to speak on international contract law at the annual Congress of the UIA, the Union Internationale des Avocats. I get to be in Miami, but I get to miss you. So I have to say thanks by this video. Let me start by thanking John Hanna, one of the founders of Whiteman, Osterman & Hanna, who had the vision 20 years ago that there was enough international business in the area, which is now known as Tech Valley, to support a separate legal practice group dedicated to the problems of international trade and business, where I have happily toiled for the last 20 years. I'd also like to thank my partners and colleagues at the Whiteman firm who have supported us in this venture and have contributed their expertise in other areas of the law that my clients have needed, as well as the support staff and paralegals at the Whiteman firm, without whom, as we all know, nothing would get done. We are all supported by our families, particularly my husband, who kept the home fires burning as I traveled to various places around the world, developed the knowledge and the networks that I needed to make the legal practice in international business successful. Finally, I want to thank the Tech Valley Global Business Network itself. I've said repeatedly that in order to succeed in international business, one needs to build knowledge and one needs to build networks. And the Tech Valley Global Business Network affords the opportunity to local businesses in Tech Valley to develop both of these in abundance so that they can be successful in the global economy. So I thank the Tech Valley Global Business Network for its contributions and am grateful for this award. Good night.